Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ben here. I am back again today doing another video, and the subject of today's video is going to be on the 93rd Oscars, which just happened last night. If you haven't heard of them or anything like that, this video is for you. I'm going to be basically reviewing what happened, um, giving my opinion on all the awards, and kind of breaking down why certain things may have happened. I'm just going to get it out of the way really quickly at the beginning. I loved this year's Oscars. I thought it was an amazing crop of films. Not only the nominations reflected that, I really liked that the Academy went for more independent films than usual. There wasn't really any blockbusters or big budget studio films that were in the race this year. Usually you have a big like war epic or maybe like a fantasy film like Lord of the Rings back in the day. This year there was basically none of that because all of the really big budget films either didn't get finished in 2020 or their filming had to get paused because of the pandemic. So a lot of the movies that we saw in the race were really small films, relatively speaking to what we're used to. Independent movies a lot more, and just a diverse crop of movies that we usually wouldn't see. So just off the bat, I loved all of that. The nominees and the winners reflected that, and it was a very interesting year in that the crop of films selected were very spread out. There wasn't like one overwhelming film that won everything. It's a record for not a record, but it's been the first time in a long time where the top winner of the night, the movie that won the most awards, it only capped out at three, which was Nomadland, winning picture, director, and actress. But overall, I thought it was a really. I guess my point with that is I really liked that they spread around the wealth and that they kind of gave every film at least something that was in the race. And so, without further ado, I'm basically just going to review all the big categories and talk about my thoughts on them. And just kind of to give you a spoiler alert here, I pretty much loved every choice the Academy made, and that's actually really rare. Usually, in my opinion, the Academy doesn't get it that right. They have quite a few mistakes along the way, and they do quite a bit of things like giving a person an award to make up for another award or things like that. But this year, to me, everybody in the Academy basically just said, let's pick based on what we actually like the best rather than what we're supposed to pick. And that's what people did. And they kind of threw all the regular rules out the window, and honestly, I loved it. Because they really awarded what were the best in each category rather than what they thought they should do, which is kind of a lame way to do the awards. So, me personally, I loved it. Getting into it, okay, so I'll go through each of the categories I'm mostly interested in and what won what. I'm going to go through some of the ones I don't really care about as much first and kind of get them out of the way. No offense to these categories, they're awesome in their own right. I just don't care as much about them as some other ones. Visual effects, because it was really the only big budget one, I think that's why Tenet won the award there. No huge surprise. Best sound going to Sound of Metal, that was highly predicted and made sense. Best score going to Soul, made sense. People thought that was going to happen. I didn't really care about animated short film or live action short film. I'm sorry, so I'm going to kind of just skip those two. Documentary and documentary short, I didn't really care about those either, so I'm sorry, but I'm going to skip them. Animated feature, Soul winning was pretty predictable, and then Best International Film, another round winning was relatively predictable. If you didn't know that was going to happen, you should go out and watch Another Round on Hulu. It's a fantastic movie, and I actually just heard that they're looking to adapt it to an American film. It's, I believe, the film takes place in Denmark, starring Mads Mikkelsen, and they're going to adapt it to an American version, and it's supposedly going to be starring DiCaprio, so we'll see about that. All right, if we keep going here, Best Original Song. Apparently, this was a little bit of an upset. People thought it was going to go to Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami, his song Speak Now, but it went to Judas and the Black Messiah, so I'm glad that they won an award there, picked that up. Production design going to Mank. People were I don't think people were too shocked by this. I think most thought it was going to either Mank or Ma Rainey's Black Bottom or The Father. I would have personally given it to The Father. They did a lot of really cool things with the set on that movie, so I would have given it there. But I think because Mank didn't get many major awards, they threw it to this for them. Makeup and hairstyling is going to Ma Rainey. Totally understand that. Not much to talk about there. Costume design going to Ma Rainey. That made sense too. Film editing going to Sound of Metal. I actually would have given this one to The Father as well, but as I said, they kind of wanted to spread the wealth, so Sound of Metal didn't really get any awards besides sound. So it's cool that they gave them another one and gave them film editing. It is a really well edited film, so I give it that. It's deserving of that. Best cinematography, this is the most bizarre one. In my opinion, it definitely should have gone to Nomadland, and instead it went to Mank. Again, I feel like they were kind of just trying to spread the love and say, like, okay, Mank isn't going to get anything huge, so we'll at least give it cinematography. It didn't really deserve it, I don't think, but also it's not one that I'm going to get, like, pissed about. The thing going for it is it's shot in black and white, which some people think is impressive. I think if you only shoot in black and white just on its own, it's not necessarily, like, transcendent or impressive. Oh well. Pretty cool that the ladies who won for best makeup and hairstyling are the first black women to ever win in that category, so that's cool. Those are all of the below the line categories. Moving into the above the line categories, if you don't know the distinction, below the line is more like the technical aspects, and above the line is more like acting, directing, picture, writing. So for adapted screenplay, one of the bigger upsets of the night, in some people's opinion, was The Father beating Nomadland for adapted screenplay. People pretty much thought it was between these two when it came down to it, but I think most people assumed it was going to be Nomadland, and it wasn't. So there you have it. And I think The Father missing out on some of the more technical categories, I think they kind of made up for that by giving it this really big prize. The way I see it is like the Academy was either going to give a film like 2 of the quote below the line category wins or 1 above the line. So like if The Father hadn't won adapted screenplay, I feel like it would have won maybe like editing and production design, but instead it won screenplay, and I'm really glad because the writing is fantastic in it. And I cannot preach this enough. If you haven't gone and seen The Father or found it somewhere to watch it, it is a phenomenal film, and you should go watch it. Original screenplay. This was kind of between, most people thought it was basically Promising Young Woman to lose. Promising Young Woman did win. I think it was deserving. Some people have really criticized the dialogue in the movie a lot and said it's really contrived and is just not very good. I think that like oftentimes screenplay is used as kind of like a second place best picture category. Like they like to give it to this instead of giving it to another movie. Like if it's not going to win best picture, they give it original screenplay. That's debatable. But I liked Promising Young Woman a lot, and I wanted it to win something, so I'm glad it at least won something. But you could argue Sound of Metal had an argument. Honestly, it's a really stacked category. Trial, The Chicago 7, Sound of Metal, Minari, Judas, and The Black Messiah. Any of those are worthy films, but I think it's fine that it went to Promising Young Woman. The supporting categories supporting actor was pretty much wrapped up the whole time. Again, I'm really, really happy that they nominated Stanfield, even though it's category fraud. I'm really happy they nominated Racy. He's this guy who hasn't really been on the mainstream ever, so it's really cool he got acknowledged for a supporting actor nom. Kaluuya, very deserving, but again, category fraud. Him and Stanfield honestly should both be in the lead category. But they got both put into supporting, and I think they did that more so just so that they can guarantee the Kaluuya win. Supporting actress, Yoon Young Jung, Yoon Yu Jung. I think that's how you say her name. The grandmother from Minari. Really, really fun performance. This was kind of I don't want to say weak field, but it was kind of like a field where nobody knew who should be getting the award, and she kind of just started racking up the awards at the previous shows, like the Critics' Choice. I don't remember if she won there, but she won quite a few of the prereqs, like out of BAFTA, Globes, and what was the other one? BAFTA, Globes. There's also Critics' Choice, like I said, and SAG. She won a few of them. I don't remember which ones, though, but Glenn Close, I don't think she won for this because people don't want to award Glenn Close for a movie that they thought was pretty bad. And a lot of people thought Hillbilly Elegy was pretty bad. So that even though she was really good in it, they don't want to give it to her for a bad movie. I think they're going to wait until she's in a really good movie to give it her, to finally give her the Oscar. Seyfried, really good in her role, but a first-time nominee, so she probably wasn't going to get it. And Coleman, really, really solid, but she also won so recently that I think that steered some people away from her. But as we're about to talk about, that kind of all gets thrown out the window with what they did with Best Actress. And I'll kind of go in the order that the Oscars did. I'll do Best Director next. Chloe Zhao wins pretty easily, I think. Other nominees were good. My personal favorite, besides Chloe, I think she definitely deserved it out of anybody, but Vinterberg for Another Round. He was awesome. That movie is awesome, large part because of him. So he would have been my personal favorite, but I think Chloe Zhao is definitely the best and deserved it. Picture, Nomadland. I think it makes sense. It's kind of just this all-around really well put together movie. It only won 3 awards, but it won 3 major ones, and the ones it didn't win, it was probably really close in it. Like adapted screenplay, it was probably the runner-up. Same with editing, cinematography, it was probably the runner-up in both of those. So it's a worthy pick because it was really good in a lot of different areas. Overall, I really liked the Best Picture lineup this year. I saw all of them. I saw I should just mention, I saw every director nomination, picture nomination. I saw all the acting nominations, and I saw both of the writing categories, all the nominations. So I saw every above the line nomination there was, so I'm not pulling things out of my ass when I talk about them. I saw everything. I really loved all the picture nominations. So Trial of the Chicago 7 and Mank, those ones I was more lukewarm than the others, but they were still respectable, well-made movies. Okay, Best Actress, I love that McDormand won. I didn't think she had a shot because she had won so recently and she's already won 2 awards overall, but they totally threw that out the window. McDormand is now a 3-time Best Actress winner. She's won 3 Oscars overall. That's an exclusive club with 7 other people for acting. And her, Day-Lewis, and Hepburn are the only people to win 3 or more in lead. Hepburn is the all-time leader with 4. Day-Lewis has 3, and now McDormand joins the ranks with 3 as well. Nobody thought that she was going to do it, and I wonder how many people's ballot she was the number 1 on. She might have just been everybody's number 2, and because of that she got it, because they do a preferential ballot where you rank your choices 1 through 5, and each number and ranking that you assign gets an associated weight with it. So I'm guessing that she was just a ton of people's number 2, but then everybody was really scattered on who their number 1 was. So because of that, she was kind of the common denominator and rose to the top. But I love it, and it's record-breaking that she's now one of 3 people with 3 or more lead acting Oscars. And then the main category that everybody's been talking about, Best Actor. Really solid field. I can't complain about any of these nominations. And I'm going to say the most unpopular thing I've said, and please don't click off the video just because I say it. Just listen to my reasoning. I think Chadwick Boseman he gave a lot of heart to his performance, but I don't think he deserved to win the Oscar. In my personal opinion, he's probably not even second place. He's maybe like fourth place, which sounds really mean. But if I had to rank this category, just really quick off the top of my head, it's Oldman in last place, Chadwick Boseman in fourth, Stephen Yeun in third, Riz Ahmed in second, and Hopkins in first. Hopkins wholeheartedly deserved this. You know, the people who don't think Hopkins deserved it, they didn't see the movie The Father. If you've seen The Father, you know that he deserved it. And people who think Boseman deserved it, you probably didn't see The Father. And number two, you probably want Boseman to win because he passed away. And as unfortunate as that is, I'm really, it's a sad thing. He was a really talented guy. Just because a person passes away doesn't mean they deserve to win the award. And that's the reality of the matter. And I think that was the sentiment around a lot of Oscar people, is that they were upset that people were kind of telling them that, okay, Boseman passed away, you have to vote for him. And from what I've heard from rumblings of different publications and different people who are close to Oscar voters, the general sentiment was, Chadwick Boseman will probably win, but I myself am voting Hopkins for number one because he was my favorite. And I think the truth of the matter is that everybody kind of thought that, and so Hopkins won and Boseman didn't, because I think most people, although they respected Boseman, his performance wasn't nearly as good, and there was just some sort of distance between him and the audience. Like, you could kind of tell, like, okay, there's Boseman up on the stage, on camera, acting and playing a character, whereas Hopkins was his character. You couldn't even tell he was acting. You were so immersed in what he was doing on the film, and you were right there with him. You weren't thinking about his acting, whereas the whole time Boseman is acting during his film, you're thinking, wow, Boseman's acting really hard, which maybe you can't distinguish the difference, but if you're cognizant of somebody's acting, that means you're actually a little bit removed from the performance. But if you can't even tell that they're acting and that's how engrossed you are with what they're doing on screen, that proves that the acting going on is basically transcendent. And to me, Hopkins' performance was utterly transcendent. It's probably the best lead actor win, I'd say, since let's see here. Probably the best lead actor win since I'm trying to think who won it in 2009. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but probably since Daniel Day-Lewis won it for his role in There Will Be Blood. I'd say it's probably the best lead actor performance since that. I don't like Crazy Heart with Bridges. It's better than that. It's better than Colin Firth to me. It's better than Jean Dujardin in The Artist. It's probably better than Lincoln, better than McConaughey, better than Redmayne, better than DiCaprio for sure, better than who won it in 16. I'm struggling to remember now. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but yeah, this was an all-timer, and it's gonna go down as one of the best actor winners in history. So I'm glad that they chose the person who was actually the best rather than choosing out of obligation. That's all I got to say about the Oscars, guys. Hope you found this informative and interesting, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.